15th year in education. Up until last year, I was a special ed teacher, and I worked with students with ID, MD, all the way to autism, LD, in the crosscut and self-contained, across the board. So a lot of these tools and things that I'm bringing you, I've actually taught with my students before as well, whether it was in resource or study hall, things like that. But organization is something that just makes me happy. And I can't wait to show you guys some of the tools that we find to be the most helpful for both us and for our students. And they're all ones that are readily available for everybody on their Chromebooks.
Hello, I'm Joy Sharp, and I'll be joining you in the background today. I'll be answering the questions in the chat as well as on the Google spreadsheet. And if I don't get to your question, don't hesitate to repeat that. A little bit about me is I've been around assistive technology since the 80s, and I'm 29. So take it away, Jean.
Actually, it's Jamie. So I'm going to show you right here. This is where you can get this presentation again. So we've already linked the slide deck presentation in the message pane over there on the right. And so if you have the presentation, you can refer to it that way. You can use your camera to take a look at this QR code. If you have questions, you can go ahead and post some things in the messages over here. But what I think is a better option is if you could ask your questions down below here, because we've created a Google form, and then that way you can see what all the answers are too, if you maybe had the same question that somebody else had. So what about this? Does this look familiar to anyone? Probably for your students. You may have a student or two who have a couple of these issues. So we're going to take a quick little quiz here, and just to kind of see where you're at. Which mailbox looks like yours? You don't have to answer in the messages, just think about it. Okay, or you can answer in the messages, whatever you prefer to do. Take a look. Are you a 1 or a 2? Which mailbox? I see lots of 1s. 1.5. That's my favorite answer. Which phone screen is yours? Are you a 1 with lots of unread notifications? Or are you a 2 with very few notifications? Wow, more 2s in the phone world. And this one, which drive is yours? Is it a 1 with files everywhere and they're not organized into folders? Or is it a 2 where you have folders and they're color coded and they're so nice and organized? All right, if you are a 1, you're in the right place. If you're a 2, you're still in the right place. We'll take everybody. Hopefully we can just show you some things that maybe you're using them already, but you haven't thought to use them in a different way, or maybe you're using some of the features, but not all of them. So this is going to be something I think that you'll find that one size does not fit all. And also, the way that you organize things is very personal. I mean, this is something that's like deeply rooted in us. Some people are awesome with those really pretty colored paper planners that you buy every year, and they have the nice little color-coded tabs and all of that. And some people are really into, having their laptop open and they're just automatically inputting any kind of appointments or tasks that they have right in there. It works differently for everyone, and it works differently for every student. So you'll figure out what your style is if you haven't already, if you like the tech part or if you like the paper part or something in between. And your students need to figure that out too. Many of them, you know, in elementary school get these agendas that are paper, and that may be a good place for them to start. And then eventually they'll start, you know, hopefully going into something more tech, like with their Google Calendar. The important thing to keep in mind, and if you look at this picture, it might take you a second to realize it, but you know, all the technology in the world can be amazing, but implementing it is what makes all the difference. So we can say to our students, oh, here, try this, here, try this. But if we're not explaining to them the strategy behind that, then they're never going to be able to do it on their own. So if we're saying, I'm going to put all of your upcoming tests into your calendar for you so that it automatically will send you an alert, it's never going to teach them how to do it. So we kind of arranged the presentation by asking some questions. So how do I start? That's our first question. And when we do that, we're really talking about, do you have a routine? So maybe take a second or two and just go ahead and type in the chat. Like, what's the first thing you do when you open up your laptop in the morning when you go to start work? What's your routine? Go to email, yep, it's usually always email, right. So go through LCPS Go, perfect. What I think is really interesting is that there's so many different ways to check our email, right? So some of us, we go through LCPS Go, and then we double click on our little Outlook there, and that's how we access our email. Some of us go from the Start button to Outlook directly on the laptop, the program itself. And some people just go in through Chrome. So this, if you're looking at this slide here, this is one where you're showing you how you can personalize apps and pages so that they open automatically in Chrome and then also in LCPS Go. So to kind of take the stress off or the time factor off into double clicking on everything once you open it, you can set it so that it automatically opens. So if you look on the left, Jean's got for Chrome, and then we also have another link for how you can do an set things to automatically open when you are in LCPS Go. There's like I said, the Chrome that's up there is a link to instructions, like step-by-step instructions on how you can set those up. And then right here, you simply just go to where your profile is on LCPS Go up at the top, and you click the little caret, and then go down to My Profile. And then once you click on your profile, that's what the second picture looks like. And you just look over to the left, and then there is a little, it says Auto Launch. So you click on that, and then you can see all the different apps within LCPS Go, and you can toggle those on or off. So you just click that little rectangle next to it, and then it'll turn it on. So for me personally, this is what I do. I go into my LCPS Go. I have a little profile on my desktop for my work Google account. I click on that. I go up there to LCPS Go, and then automatically I have mine set to open Schoology and my email, and I think it used to have it for Phoenix too, but you can just figure out which ones work best for you and set those ones up. So why don't you guys take a minute or two to kind of explore that. So take a look at your, however it is that you choose to get your work going in the morning, and you can use the link that we provided in the previous slide to try and set up an automatic page opener in Google Chrome, or you can use the other link to set up automatic openers for your LCPS Go.
And for those that, I saw that we had some new people have joined. For those of you that have just recently joined us, you want to take this time to find the presentation. I think Joyce just put the link in the chat again. and that way you can, if you haven't gotten it, you can get it. There are tons and tons of links throughout the presentation for tutorials of the stuff that we will go over. So if you're like, oh gosh, what did Jamie say again? Or how did Jean say to do that? You can go back and check them out. But there are so many tools and so many things out there that we did dump a bunch of stuff at the end and along that we won't necessarily go over, but that you can check out on your own later. If the forms, I see in the chat, if the form says that you need permission, you may not be logged into your LCPS account. That came up at the last session. We had a lot of requests for forms and presentations, and it was coming from personal Gmail or personal accounts. But we can't open it up to personal accounts. So you have to make sure that you're logged into LCPS.
So this auto launch, we're kind of presenting it as something that you can do, but remember, these are all things that you can also teach your students to do. Jean, do you want to take a second to just show, somebody's asking if you can show it in the presentation.
Auto launch?
Yeah. Do you want to see it in Chrome or in LCPS Go?
So which one of these you choose kind of depends on you. I prefer Chrome. I set up so that it's actually a screenshot here on the left of what pages I have open. I have my Google Keep, my Drive, and my Outlook, and the login for LCPS Go opens whenever I start Chrome, only because I don't like to use LCPS Go very much. That's my own personal, but like Joyce and Jamie use their LCPS Go for a lot more stuff.
I use LCPS Go every day, all the time, except for yesterday when it was down. And then I went in through my start menu.
And if you click on the word Chrome, it'll take you to how to set that up in Chrome. And then Jamie wrote out the instructions on how to do it in LCPS Go. All right, we are going to keep going. We are not going to ignore your comments, I swear, but we have a lot of information to give you guys. So we will, hopefully we'll have time at the end to get to those. If not, and you want to hang out for a few, I know I can stay after for a few to answer extra questions or show any extra things. We were able to do that last session and it worked for those that needed a little extra. So promise we're not trying to ignore you. So the next section is, where did I put that? I know when I was co-teaching that my students were always like, I don't remember where I saved that file. So I'm going to, hopefully, most of this presentation will be me showing you things. So right here, it's talking about the search. This is a big thing that is like the first thing you want to teach your kids. And for you to get used to using it too, is whether you're in Google Drive, Outlook, Gmail, Schoology, they all have some type of search feature. So even if you're just starting to get yourself organized, you can always go to search. So I could start typing up here in my Drive. Say I wanted to try to find everything that maybe Joyce has sent me. I could start typing her name. And it'll start pulling people up and things. Or if I know I want this presentation, but oh gosh, where did I put that presentation? As I start typing it, it'll even start kind of auto-populating, and then it starts pulling up everything that matches what I wrote. So as long as you remember something from the title, you can find it. This goes the same for if you are in your email. You have a search feature up here. You can search by who sent you the email or words in the email. Oh, that was a how-to. Schoology has a search feature up here, and your Gmail has search. I mean, there's almost always a search button somewhere. So back to those tips for yourself and for your kiddos, search. Search is your friend. This is another picture just showing you the search bars. So we're gonna skip this part unless you guys want a second to try out the search feature. But basically, like I said, it's anywhere you go, it's just kind of almost like a Google search. So then the next is, when is that? So other than the kiddos or even us, like, where did I put that file? Is, when is that due? When do I need to work on this? So a big feature, calendars. We really encourage, I used to really encourage my kids too, is whether you want to use your Google Calendar, your Outlook calendar, the calendar in Schoology, or even the calendars in your phone apps, use a calendar. And most of these will sync together. Again, we're not talking a ton about Schoology, but Schoology calendars do sync with Outlook and Google. I just actually synced mine earlier today. So there's links there on how to do that. So if you've got a kiddo that is dead set on still using their phone calendar, it can still sync with their Schoology. Or maybe you're really set on your Outlook calendar, you can sync your Schoology with the Outlook calendar. Wanted to show you real quick another tool with the calendar. I don't use the Google part of my calendar very much, that's why it's so empty. But you can, another tip with the calendars is that you don't have to necessarily add a time. I use the calendar feature sometimes, like, remember, I really want to get my presentation done on Friday, even if it's not due till next Thursday. But because I'm trying to chunk out everything I need to do, which we encourage our kids to chunk out their assignments so they don't get so overwhelmed. Maybe I say that I want to have sections 1 and 2 of my presentation done on Friday. Well, you can set that as just kind of a calendar event, but really it's just a reminder, because a lot of us, one of the first things that we do is look at our calendar and see, okay, what do I got going on today? So that could be a reminder, hey, I need to get that done. And again, like I said, that can really help our kiddos too, chunking that, having them set up, okay, this assignment's due on Friday, so by Tuesday, I want to have section 1 done. Wednesday, section 3. So just teaching them how to kind of chunk and break things up. Alerts and alarms. These are great tools, both for ourselves and our kids. Again, they probably will know how to use their smartphone, or well, obviously their smartphones, but their smart watches. A lot of them have Apple Watches, or the watches for Android. I'm an Apple user, so I can't remember the name of their watches. But anyways, the kids know how to use them. Remind them that they can ask Siri to set a reminder for them. They can ask Siri to add an event to their calendar. They can ask Siri to set a timer. Same thing with, if you have an Echo Dot, ask Alexa to do it. Have those alarms come up on your watch. I have my watch set with my calendar so that it pings me and I can look down at my watch and see when my next session is or when my next meeting is. It helps keep me on track. Timers are another thing to help keep yourself and the kids on track. Especially with this kind of crazy world we're in, it's easy to get overwhelmed. And especially when they've got this coming in from Schoology and that, and this class, and everything's popping up on their calendar. This is a good way to be like, okay, I need to break out and work on this task and this task and this you got 5 tasks due on Friday. How do you manage how to get them all done? Well, set yourself up a timer. I'm only going to work on this task for this 60 minutes. Give myself a break. take a 5 minutes to go breathe, go get a snack, go get another drink, just get up and walk, get away from the screen. These timers can help yourself just to breathe, that mental, wellness, but also for the kids. They can chunk up their assignments, give themselves a break, get away from the screen. So there's some online ones. There's ones with the watches, with Alexa, and it can help keep you organized that way. Okay, so I'm gonna give you like 2-3 minutes. Check out your calendars. If you want to look at your phone, see what alarms you might have on your phone. We'll just give you kind of 2-3 minutes to check that out real quick and see if there's any quick questions that we can get to before we go on to the next section.
Hey, everybody. I see that people are asking about the course code and the MLP and all of that. That's going to be back where you clicked on the link to come to this presentation, back in that schedule that you have today for all the courses that you selected. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see there's a little link there where you can click on that, and it takes you to a form that you fill out to get your MLP all set up, and it's going to have the course code in there already.
Okay, so we'll move on. The next sections are a little bit more in depth. They are bigger tools that have a lot more features. So I'm going to try to slow down and really give you a chance to look at them as we go through. And then there'll also be another section of, here's your turn, go ahead and play before we end, so that we can, again, hopefully be able to answer any questions. So what do I do? So how do you even get going getting stuff organized, or having the kids start to get organized? Before we get that, I just want to say as a tip that just kind of focus on one thing at a time. We're about to show you a bunch of tools, and that's why we put tutorials and pictures in this document, because we're going to throw a bunch of stuff at you that'll be great for you and the kids, but it's a lot to process. Focus on one thing at a time. So if we get going and the labeling in Google Keep really pings you, focus on that. Same thing with your kids. So if you wanted to build in somehow to help them with organization during your classes, maybe do one quick tech tool per class period. Too much at one time overwhelms all of us. And I know we're all feeling a little crazy right now with everything being thrown at us. So the first big one is Google Drive. There is a ton of organization that can be built in in Google Drive that will help you nest out folders, color code. There's a priority and a starred section. I know sometimes people are like, oh, but we have to use Schoology now. Schoology pulls from your Google Drive. So I know as a teacher, and I use Google Drive for everything to house all my stuff. Schoology will still pull from your drive. So getting your Google Drive organized will not be for naught. You can still pull your stuff from there to Schoology. And a lot of the tips and things that you can do in Google Drive with folders and color coding, you can also do in Schoology, and it's very similar. But I'm going to jump over to Drive and show you that real quick. So here is my Google Drive, and you can see over here that I have a bunch of folders. They're different, some of them are different colors. The color coding really is up to you and what makes sense for you. I can't tell you how to sort out and what makes, sense in your head. I'll tell you, as somebody that likes to sort things out, that I have this many files not in folders gives me a little bit of anxiety. I usually have just a couple, but I haven't been able to get everything sorted out, and I wanted you guys to see. So I've been holding off. So like I said, there's, different folders are color coded for different reasons. Any of my folders that are automatically populated by things that I do, like the voice notes from Read and Write, meet recordings, these aren't folders that I actually created. They're automatically created by the Google or the extension that I used. I just leave them black because that helps me remember, okay, that's not my folder. That was created, so I know where to go for my Google Meet recordings. My stuff is color coded, so like any reference kind of materials that I need is this pretty teal color. Your screen can even be organized differently. I prefer this method to scroll down, but you can also have more of a grid view where it kind of puts your folders at the top, and then you actually get thumbnail pictures of your files this way as well. I know a lot of my students actually preferred this method, I think, because they could see little pictures. Oh yeah, that's what it was, because many times they forget to name their files as they're creating them, to encourage and remind them to name their files. So this is just your regular drive. You can see I do a lot of nesting. If you go into schools, then I have all my schools. So it's start small though. Start with maybe just one main folder, or for your kids, like have them do world history folder, English folder, science folder, and then maybe eventually break down each one into maybe projects or things like that. Start small and then build. There's also the shared with me. So whenever somebody shares something with you, it's not going to go immediately into your drive. You have to go to shared with me. So all your stuff will be here. There's the quick access things that you might have gone to earlier. I saw a quick question about organizing it. You can't really organize the shared with me in here, in this part, other than alphabetical order. You can do like share date by the name, when it was last modified or last opened. However, when you go to this nifty thing called priority, I actually have my drive automatically opens to priority. You can fix that in the settings. We have these things called workspaces. So first off, sorry, this section up here is just anything that was recently opened, that first top part. Workspaces. Think of these as kind of like, they're kind of like folders, or maybe like a bookmark bar, because it doesn't really, what you put in these little workspaces doesn't move where the item is. So the file doesn't move like this. I have AT meeting notes for this year under general AT. That file is not in that folder. That file is actually in our group drive in a different folder for meetings. All this does is create basically links. So if you have stuff and shared with me that you access a lot, you could create a workspace and add that file to here. So it basically just creates a quick link to get to it quickly. Hopefully that's making sense so far. Again, I just want to kind of reiterate, it's not moving the folder. What's great about this is that you can pull links from the shared with me, from your drive, from different shared drives into one spot. Like under my quick reference, I have files in that are in my folder, in my drive, that are in my AT group drive. There's one of those files is not even, I just have view access to. I don't have any kind of editing, but because it's a quick find, it's in there. So it's just kind of a great spot to kind of quickly grab and see it. So it's more linking, not actually moving anything. And I realized that when I was in Drive, I forgot to show you. So you have the different colors here. All you have to do is right click on a folder, and this is where you can rename folders. You can change the different colors. You can add things to starred. You can move the folders here, things like that. So that's where you can share. Your starred is also another section that is not, this has not moved your files to starred. Your files are still wherever they were located originally. So like this DIY AT handouts was from a presentation that I went to. I don't own that folder. I just have access to it, but I starred it so that I can get back to it at some point. Word of caution, it's really easy to star a bunch of stuff, be like, yeah, I want to be able to get back to that easy, star, and then you end up with way too many starred things like me. And I really need to go through my starred stuff and kind of clean it up and say like, okay, what do I not need access to anymore? What can I kind of unstar and clean back up? Because it's supposed to be for quick, easy access, not 1,000 different things. But again, don't forget about search, because if you can't find something, search will find it for you. You can also change how, like, the order of your files, do it opposite of ABC, and back and forth. You can sort it by when it was last modified. Trying to think. This also is where you can access different shared drives. You may have different shared drives based on school groups. I imagine at some point some of this will probably start to go away a little bit because we're moving to Schoology. But I know some groups are still saying they're still going to use that to house some of the stuff, since it can be accessed through Schoology as well. So kind of groups doing both, but especially for a while, you can still access the share drives there. Okay. So that is kind of the nitty gritty of Google Drive. There's lots, like I showed you, there's lots of ways of doing the folders. Oh, I didn't show you how to make a folder. That would be helpful. That's just go to new folder, give it a name. You can move them too. If you right click on them, you can click move to. If you, as you're starting to get yourself organized and creating folders and stuff, you decide, oh, well, that really should go under something else. You can click move to and move it. Okay. The next one is one of my loves. So if I go off on too much of a tangent, my teammates know how to rein me back. Google Keep is one of my absolute favorites to show my students, to show everybody, because this is basically like digital sticky notes, but to like a 100th degree. There's also an app on your phones, whether you have Android or Apple, and it looks almost the same. I think I put 2 different screenshots in the presentation for you to see. But so when I say digital sticky note, if you see up here, it says take a note. Click there and you can immediately start typing in your note. Notes for presentation. And then, like, if you're in a hurry, you could then hit close and boom. Now you don't see it up here, but that's because those are all my pinned ones. All your other notes are down here, and you can see there's my note, my little sticky note. Now, if I think something's important, like the ones I have up there, you can click pin note. And it moves it up here. In this, you also have reminders. So you can set it to remind you of something, either later today at a certain time. You can pick a calendar time for next week. You can even pick a place. So if you have the app on your phone and you want it to remind you when you get to the grocery store to not forget the butter, you can, don't forget butter, click pick a place, and when the location services knows you're at that grocery store, it'll say ping you to remind you to pick up the butter. There can be note sections like this where I have a bunch of links that I wanted easy access to. You can have more of a checklist. By doing that, you click up here, more, show checkboxes. So you do that, it creates more of a list. You can also give it a title. You can change the color of the notes, again, with that whole color coding organization. You can put in images. Now, if you saw down here, I put an image right here in this one. You can do a Google drawing. If you are one that uses Google Draw a lot, you can pop in Google Drawings. You can also share notes. So if you can see down here, I shared my list of tech meetings, AT meetings, with Joyce and Jamie. They can also add to that memo if they want to. See what else? You can archive them if you're done with that note, but say you don't really want to get rid of it, because like these quick links, if I'm like, you know what, I'm not accessing them as much, but I don't want to necessarily get rid of it, I can archive it and always go over here to archive and pull it back. There are also labels. So I don't have a ton of sticky notes on mine. I'm particular about keeping mine pretty tidy. But one of our team members, Chris Bouguet, has a lot more. He has a ton. So labels are important, because then if you give a note a label, over here, add a label. You can either create a new label, or I'm going to add it to the one I already have, LWAC notes. And I've got all these sticky notes everywhere. And I'm like, you know, I need just LWAC. I can click LWAC notes, and boom, anything that I have labeled as LWAC notes is going to pop up here. There's a list of reminders. If you have any notes that have reminders, that can just be your notes. You can, like I said, with the drawing, put in pictures. You can create the list. You can pin it or not. Another cool feature is on your phone. Let me see if there's the picture. It's hard to see probably in this picture, but down here at the bottom of the picture of my phone app one, you can see there's a little microphone. The third box is a microphone. So if you're on the go, you can hit that and give a voice memo. Let me pull up my, oh, that's not it. There it is. You can pull up, I did this one the other day, and if I hit, you guys can't hear it because of the way I'm sharing, but if I hit play, it would play my voice note. And it plays the voice note, and it'll also give you the text. Now, if, as with most of these, it's not 100% fabulous. I mean, it's pretty good. I was kind of mumbling because I kind of was just throwing it together, and it thought I said something about poisonous. I did not say anything about poisonous. I actually don't remember exactly what I was saying. But as long as you're speaking clearly, for the most part, it will pick it up. Now, it doesn't know grammar, so it won't give you that. Another down the rabbit hole kind of feature of this, if you're one that likes to scribble a hand note, but then you don't want to keep that note, you want it digitally again, when you insert a picture into a Google Note, Google Keep note, and it's a handwritten note, as long as your handwriting is not completely atrocious, it'll still try, but you can get the image, click it, again, this is through your phone, and tell it to transcribe, and it will transcribe a handwritten note into text. So that's also helpful for some. I know some students like that one. They like the voice feature as well, that they can just verbally give a note and it'll pop in there. When you are, if you're a Google Gmail or calendar user, over here on the right-hand side, there's tasks as well, but there's a Google Keep button, and it will sync with your notes for Google Keep as well. So you can take a look at all your notes there while you're in your calendar or in your Gmail as well. I briefly mentioned Google Tasks. That's another kind of organizer one. I'm not going to get into that one. But that one is kind of on the side here of your calendar and Google. So there are tasks and it will automatically add to your calendar if you give it a date. I know some students like to use that before. They probably will start getting away from this one with the more advanced features of Google Keep and as well as Schoology. But this is also just, hey, it is out there as a reminder, because the kids do have Chromebooks, and Chromebooks and Schoology play very well with the Google. Well, Chromebooks do because it is Google, but they may be used to using a lot more of their Google features, and sometimes it's hard to change. So you gotta kind of roll with them that way as well. This is a big one that we want to share. There are videos on how to do this, but bookmarks. Bookmarks are your friend. These, again, it doesn't move anything, but you can bookmark files, you can bookmark apps, you can bookmark websites, and we wanted to be able to show you this because this is great for the kids. This is great for you to get yourself, again, organized with all your links. So, for example, I have different folders up here, and under AT Schools, I have all the web pages for each one of my schools. Just kind of a handy thing. All the things that I use on a regular basis, I have linked up here. So I've got Schoology. I've got, actually I have two Schoologies for some reason. I have my Google Keep. I have all the things that we've been needing for virtual school life, including meeting rooms of different people, websites, my meeting room. There's some more over here. Now, I don't personally like it when my bookmarks kind of go off the edge over here like this. So one of the things that you can do, first off, to bookmark something, you see the star up here at the top of your screen? You click it. And this is an opportunity. You can leave it and name it whatever it comes. This one says, organize me, Google Slides. Well, I know it's a Google slide. I don't need it to say Google Slides. I'm just going to let it be called Organize Me. And I don't want it in the AT Schools. I want to put it down here in AT. And then I'm going to click Done. And now there's a blue star there because this is already bookmarked. And if I go to AT, I have a lot of stuff that needs to be organized. Down here at the bottom is my Organize Me. Some people like to do this where they don't even have words, like, because I don't like how it's starting to go off the side here. I will shorten some of these. If you right click on one of your bars here and click, where is it? There it is, edit. It says Google Keep. I know what Google Keep looks like. I'm going to get rid of the name completely and click Save. So it didn't go anywhere. It's still there, but now it's just the picture. So it's just the Google Keep picture. Can do the same to any of these, or if you just want to put Schoology, if I just want to put a big S. Normally it doesn't say a G. Normally it actually gives the lovely Schoology symbol. Having a little bit of lag issues today, so that might be why. But this is a great way to organize out all maybe the Google Meet rooms. You want to easy access. There's other pages that you want to be able to easily access, maybe how-to videos, things like that, to be able to access real quick. This is a great way to do that. And again, it's something easy for the kids to do too. As a special ed teacher, when we went to taking our data on Google Forms, I had a folder up here for each one of my classes that I clicked, and I had all my kids, data forms. And I showed a bunch of my physics kids. We were doing a lot in Seesaw and a Google site. So I showed them how to attach their things on their bar that way too. So it was really helpful to help keep them organized. And I got a lot less, hey, how do you get to that link again, Ms. Garrett? Where do I go? And they remembered, hey, I just need to go to my physics folder on my bookmarks and I can get to it. The whole nesting and color coding, we just want to mention you can do in Schoology too. It does pull your apps from OneDrive and Google, but it also your own resource files within within Schoology can also be nested, have different folders, and color code them as well. We mentioned in our, I think we did, in starting your day, starting a routine, encouraging your kids to start routines too. Get up, get your coffee, sit down at the computer, open your email, open your calendar. Another thing could be is, okay, what do I need to get done today? Make a to-do list, whether you do it in Google Keep, or say for us, we have sticky notes on our ThinkPads, and it's just going to the start menu, going to sticky notes, and you can stick these notes literally on your desktop. It would stay there all day. And you could do one of these and keep a list of all the tasks that you want to get done for the day, and it's right there on your desktop. To kind of keep you organized, they have similar versions of this, like for Google Keep and stuff, that to teach the kids too. But again, this is just another tool. Figure out which ones kind of work best for you. And this is a reminder for you and for the kiddos to use what you've got. So maybe they're used to using that calendar on their phone. That calendar can be synced with all their other calendars, so they can still use iCal on their Apple phone or their calendar on their Android phone. Maybe they have reminders or their alarm that has a timer on it on their phone. Okay, so we're going to get back to your turn real quick, but just because we have 9 minutes left technically, this is just a reminder that at the end of this, make sure you go back to Sched and fill out the attendance sheets. You just click on our session, and under where you accessed this Google Meet, where it says video stream, underneath that is the attendance sheet. You click that and you fill it out. So this is just a screenshot of what that looks like. So we have about 9 minutes left, and like I said, I can hang out a little bit if you have any questions, but we want to give you a chance to check out some of the stuff that we just talked about. So while we're here to help facilitate any questions, jump in and check out Google Drive or open up Google Keep. I saw that, I think they told you how to find Google Keep. You just go to keep.google.com, or even if you just do a Google search for Google Keep, it'll pull it up.
Also, just because we're at the end of this, I want to show everybody, if you look further into the slides, past like slide 34, there, we called it Want More. So we had, it was really hard for us to kind of narrow down what it was that we thought would be most beneficial for everybody, because, well, we knew that there was already Schoology trainings happening, and so we kind of left Schoology out for the most part. But on slide 53 of the slide deck, there are some links to organization tips and things, how-tos for Schoology. And then, we kind of narrowed it down. We were talking about, if you look to further in the slides, there's some things generally about executive functioning. And there's also some other things about read and write. So using read and write and using the highlighters and then collect the highlights is another excellent way to keep kids organized, especially if you have them doing assignments and they need to, kind of collect their thoughts and put them together. There's screen masking that's available in Read Write. That will help them to kind of stay focused on what it is that they're reading. Let me see. There are so many things, because there's just so much. I mean, this could be an entire college course, I think. But yeah, if Jean's showing it now, a spreadsheet of tutorials. This thing is amazing. So here's tutorials for each of those tools, which is fantastic. We have a slide later on that's just on memory aids. We've got things on prioritizing, and just so many things in there for you all to take a look at. Outlook, tips and tricks for better email management. So Somebody was asking earlier, how do I delete like everything that's in my folder? Go to this, it's on slide 54. It has all the tricks for how to do that, and also how you can set up rules. So if you have, like, I always get emails from VDOE, and I'm like tired of them cluttering up my main inbox. So I created a folder, called it VDOE, and I set up a rule so that all of the VDOE emails automatically go into that folder. That is also on slide 54 for you to try and do that if that's something that you're interested in. 53, the slide right before that, is the one that has all of the Schoology how-tos. So there's, in Schoology itself, there is a course that is called Using Google with Schoology course. So you can get on that within your own Schoology thing. Scheduling things to appear later in Schoology, there's a link there for how to do that. And then syncing Google and Schoology calendars, there's a link on how to do that also.
Awesome. There are a couple of questions that I wanted to hit real quick that I saw. Somebody had asked how to get Google Keep in your calendar, and there's nothing really that you do. It's over here on the sidebar when you open your calendar, and Google Keep is this little like sticky note with a light bulb. So when you click it, it opens it out. And then if you want to actually go to Google Keep, you can hit the open in new tab. Somebody asked about the links. Can you put the links in Schoology so the kids can have? Which links? A lot of the links that we embedded into the presentation are just links to like Google Forums or YouTube videos on how to do stuff. So most of that stuff, yes, you can copy the links from the presentation. I don't know if they can see the presentation. I think so, as long as they're in LCPS. But we probably say not share the actual presentation, but you can pull links and information from the presentation to share with them. Somebody asked, how do you get sticky notes to show up as soon as you log in? I think you're talking about the sticky notes from Windows. That is a good point. Question. They were starting up. I think it's a setting within sticky notes when you go to start. And go to sticky notes. They're right there. You can also pin sticky notes. You can pin it to the taskbar. So if you can't get it to open right up, you can at least have it where you just click it real quick. You can also, I think there's a way to pin it so when you click this, it shows up right here as well. I actually don't use it very much, so I'm not 100% sure how to get it to make sure it starts up every time you start up. But you can pin it down here to the bar, and that way you can just click it.
And I think if they're pinned, they'll be on your desktop.
Yeah.
I used them a lot last year, and then I kind of got away from them a little bit, but I still have them down where my start button is. There's still a little, I have it pinned to that, but also your individual note, you can have it pinned to your desktop. Keep in mind too, sticky notes isn't available in the form of sticky notes to students. You have to go to their Google, what is that called? Google Pay or Google, whatever you have to find it in Google since they're on Chrome. They have the Chromebook because they don't have Windows. So, but it is possible. You just have to find the right one for them.
That's one of the reasons why I encourage Google Keep. And you, through that, at the very beginning, I think we mentioned how to do your startup pages. Where is it? Put some how-tos. This is for the kids too, although we did find in the last presentation that some people were able to change their startup pages and some were not. So I'm not sure if this is a weird school setting. We're not sure about that. So if you do have issues with it, maybe talk to your TRT or your DDI person. Maybe they'll know why. but you can encourage the kids to set their Google Keep as their like one of the first things that pops up when they open up Chrome. If you use it a lot, you can also set it as one of the things under apps that pops up quickly as well. So you can always add it to this. See, I have my Google Keep right here too, which the students can also do.
Well, I think that Jean and I at least can stick around for a couple more minutes. If anybody wants to ask questions or to see something in action, we'll stay on for a bit. But thank you all for attending, especially those of you who have stuck it out till the end. Hopefully you've learned some useful and helpful tips. There's so much to cover, so there's more out there. These were just things that we thought you would find helpful, hopefully. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and your other trainings as well.
I see somebody asked about how to create a folder. There are, in your bookmarks, there's actually 2 different ways. You can put your mouse up here on the bar, right click, and say add a folder, and it'll create a folder. Another way that we actually didn't show is Bookmark Manager, which kind of takes you to this, where you can, sorry, my computer is all of a sudden lagging a lot. You can create folders and you can move things around in here as well, a little bit easier. So you can rename things, open bookmarks, things like that. But the easiest way to just do a quick folder up here is just right click on that bar and click, where is it? Thank you. Add folder.
Hey, Jean, we have a question about organizing emails. And I was trying to go back to find the question. And Jennifer Lawyer is asking how to organize email into folders. She doesn't state whether it's using Outlook or Office 365, but I think they're similar in how they work.
Yes, whether you're using Outlook on the web or you're using Outlook on your computer, the gist is about the same. There is, I know up here on the web, sorry, I'm going to end up getting emails as we talk about this. There is this new folder. So kind of like on your drive, you can create folders to put emails in. And like Jamie said, you can create even rules so that something automatically goes to a folder. The way I organize myself, I like to see it in there and then I put it in the folder. But like Jamie, like her VDOE ones can go directly into a folder. So it's, again, just how you organize. But see, I have different folders here. I have my LWAC stuff, and you can have folders within folders. So there's more nesting. So I have, all my people that I worked with for LWAC have a folder in there so I can keep track of our communications. Anything Google related, I tend to put it in there. I have all my schools under AT schools, things like that. I know when everything was going down with the closure last year, I have several like closure specific things to keep announcements and closure specific resources in. I would have to launch my, yes, I just saw another thing. You can click and drag. So I can, let me show you real quick. Where is it? So I have a folder that just says my presentation. So anything that has to do with anything I'm presenting. So I can, here's this on the EdTech day today. I can grab it and go over here to my presentations and drop. And it just moved it over. You can also click the little move to button and it'll open up and ask you where you want to move it. You can, there's also flagging. This helps, like that's why this one down here is yellow. It's because it's something that I need to do. So I flagged it so that it kind of reminds me to do it.
Hey, Dean, I have another question and I'm smiling. Eva would like to know how to stop those auto generated emails about vacancies in Loudoun County Public Schools?
I actually don't know if you can.
So
I think
this
you have
is
to talk to
Jamie.
somebody.
Oh, sorry. I don't think you can stop them. There's like no unsubscribe, but I did the same thing where I created a folder and I said like, I just named it like mass LCPS emails. And then I created a rule. And there's instructions for that on that Outlook slide. I think it was number 54 or something, but it's pretty easy. You just, you create a folder under your inbox and then you go up to, let me look to make sure that I'm telling you the right way. I think it's simply like just create a rule. And I do that in the, if you go to your start button and then you access Outlook that way into that Outlook program, that's the way that I create all the rules, because it doesn't seem like the web-based one has a lot of that. I think you can do it if you're in like your settings or something, but it's just easier for me to just go into the Outlook for the 365 that's part of the Windows-based Outlook. Let me see. It's making me sign in. I just actually found that the other day because I forgot all about it. And then we were like looking through my inbox and I had like, I won't say how many I have unread, but I had unread ones. And one of the big ones was because of the mass LCPS mass emails.
Oh, I wanted to mention, if you do create a rule so that things automatically sort into a folder over here, don't worry about missing anything because all the stuff that I have in my folders are all red. I've looked at them, so that's why there's no numbers. But if, see how like next to junk email, there's a number, and notes, there's a number. If you have something that was sorted, ruled and sorted into that folder, it'll tell you by giving you that number being bold to say, hey, you've got a new email in here that you haven't looked at. So it does let you know that something new has come in.
Yeah, Ava, so if you go into your Outlook from your start button and you open it up that way, it's real easy. If you see your inbox and then just create a folder, like I said, I created, you can right click on it and say new folder and put it under your inbox. And like I said, I named mine LCPS mass emails. And then you just go up to the bar at the top where it has like the reply, forward, new mail, all that. And right next to move, there's one that's called rules. So you click on that and then you can say that you want any email that comes from LCPS licensed vacancy or, any kind of LCPS thing, that it would automatically go into that folder.
Anything else?
Great job, ladies. I am going to stop the recording now and look forward to chatting with you later.
Thanks, Joyce.
All right. Thank you, everybody.